This new watch has just become the best budget Black Bay alternative. It delivers a beautiful dial, an incredible level of detail, and this watch might just be the best value micro-brand watch I've ever reviewed. Today we take a look at the brand new Monro Ocean Adventure, a watch that delivers Black Bay vibes on a $300 budget. Now, although I am calling this a Black Bay alternative, truth be told, this is very much its own watch. I mean, it's not copied the Black Bay in any single way, but I feel with the golden index, black dial and oyster style bracelet, it definitely delivers Black Bay vibes without being a boring copycat. I do also, however, have the bronze version to show you here today, which is actually my personal favourite of the two. I must first say this video is not sponsored, these watches are only on loan. I have no affiliation with this brand, I just like these watches and I think you will do too. Now the reason why this watch is so cheap is because it's only on pre-order. Well, it's on Kickstarter. On the release day of this video, the watch will be live to back on Kickstarter. That means staggeringly low prices. £245 for the steel version, £315 for the bronze. But these prices will go up. The quicker you are, the better prices you will get. UK customers, tax included, which is always nice. Each colour and variation is limited edition to just 200 pieces. This really is a first come, first serve watch, and one that I think is going to be very popular once you watch this review. For me, one of the most impressive areas of this watch is the dial design. It's pretty hard these days to come up with a dial design that feels original, that doesn't feel like it's copying another big brand dive watch. I think though that somehow Monro has done this. I think that a lot of credit here has to go to that handset. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this hand design is original to Monro, no? At the very least, the only place I've seen this before is on the other Monro watch I reviewed. I just love how big they are. The hour hand and second hand stretch right to the edge of the dial, and the hour markers aren't anything special here, allowing the focus to be on that beautiful handset, with just simple applied circles and a bigger marker at every quarter hour. I do think that the 4 lines of text beneath the pinion is probably a little bit too much, but I do enjoy the Monro logo below the 12, which is much better branding than most brands deliver in my opinion. I do appreciate the golden polish finish to all of the metal elements beneath the glass. This is often a feature that is a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. I like golden stuff, you know? But covering all of those golden elements is one of the most interesting crystals I have ever seen. Yes, this is a piece of sapphire, and oh my, there's domed and then there's domed. A lot of watch brands say domed sapphire when it's basically flat. Here though, the crystal is like a mountain. It certainly delivers a unique experience for this reason. It does come with one huge drawback, which we will cover a little later in the video. The ceramic bezel on this watch is also another interesting point. This isn't your standard flat bezel. The construction of this bezel actually slopes inwards towards the glass. Basically, if you tilt the watch towards a light source, you see the inside of the furthest point of the bezel light up first, then the closest high point last. This certainly allows for some interesting visuals that feel a little bit weird because we're used to flat bezels. It's pretty cool though, but the 120 click bezel action on this watch is fantastic. Certainly up there with the best I've reviewed on any sub $500 watch. Thankfully, no glass case back on this watch, and it is screwed down like the crown, giving us a 200 meter water resistance rating. The reason I say thankfully about not being able to see the movement is because it's just the standard Seiko NH35. Super reliable, yes. Bit boring, yes. But does the job, yes. I'm sure most of you have already experienced this movement by now, so I'll save you the details. But one area I feel that this watch over-delivers is in the detail department. The full stainless steel construction is finished to a good standard. The majority is brushed with a couple of polished surfaces for relief, and I am glad that the majority here is brushed, because this does feel like a tool watch, so it suits the vibe well. But one touch I adore is that there's this golden ring beneath the bezel grip that really pops against the steel. Again, you know I like my gold. It's something that you only see from side angles and in bright lighting, but it ties the dial, bezel and case together nicely. The grip of that bezel, sort of a turbine knurl, is also copied across to the crown, again linking different parts of this watch together, and this pattern was also found on the bezel of their first model too. I like little touches like this. Now the logo on the crown here is the Ocean logo, but this will be changed to the Monro pin logo for full production watches. Another area though that this watch did exceed my expectations was in the loop lume department. I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting the bezel insert to have so much lume. And there's also 2 different types being used there too. This lume beats a lot of other watches I've reviewed at this price point. One area though that often gets underrated in a review and probably overlooked a little bit too often is the quality of a really good bracelet and clasp. First of all, here we have negative end links for a better fit, and then the bracelet links themselves are exceptionally well finished, with a polished edge offering a bit of flash. This prototype is adjusted by push pins, but I'm told it will be screwed links for the full production version. But the best part is, we see the use of an on-the-fly adjustment clasp. Now this is the one with the button mechanism, so it does require you to take it off to use it, and it is a little bit chunky, but I will never not want to have an on-the-fly adjustment where possible. Also, the clasp is just sleek looking. It's simple, and that's how I like it. Now, because of those negative end links, we do get a set of dimensions that will work for a lot of people here. So the case diameter is coming in at 41mm. That all-important lug-to-lug measurement is 48mm, with the most unusual dimension being the thickness at 15.5mm. I will say that this watch doesn't even feel close to that thickness. Most of it, of course, coming down to that super dome to the crystal. The bezel to the case back measures 13.5mm, and I think that this is the better representation of how this watch actually feels on the wrist. Now, I've mostly covered the steel option here because I feel like it's the most compelling in terms of value, but the bronze model is also super cool, and dare I say, this is the one that I'd actually want for my collection. Now, unfortunately, we don't get a bracelet here. Instead, we get 2 bespoke straps that have been highly modified to feel like part of the watch. These are stainless steel elements that have been coated to look like bronze, so basically, the longevity is there with them. The quality of these straps is also super high. The bronze version is very similar to the steel, just with different colors and obviously a different case material. The yellow gold accents have been swapped out for a rose gold finish instead, to better match the bronze tones of the case. And the dial finish here isn't plain black. Instead, it features a subtle blue fume finish. I think this bronze version certainly has more personality than the steel. But of course, the steel has that mass appeal that can almost fit into any collection. Now, I will cover a few things that I didn't like about these watches, just in case you're thinking about picking one up for yourself. I'll never not criticize a watch for having a ghost date position. The NH38 isn't much more expensive than the NH35. Having a ghost date position just makes the watch feel imperfect. The NH35 inside of this watch is absolutely a negative for me. Due to the insane dome, the crystal does have a lot of glare. Now, there is definitely some AR, however, so the crystal is still clear enough, but likely it will give you more reflections on that crystal than you're used to. Now, the bezel alignment on the 2 prototypes I have is slightly off. I do expect this to be a priority when it comes to full production, and this is something that usually is off when it comes to prototypes, but it's definitely worth mentioning here for Monro themselves more than anything else. Everything else on the watch is either decent or exceptional. Good job, Monro. So in terms of value, at the Kickstarter price, I think that this steel version is a no-brainer if you're looking for a new diver. The bronze version is of course a bit more of a niche piece that comes with that higher price tag, due to it being made from a more precious material. This one I don't think is as compelling as an option when compared with the steel, but that's simply because the steel is just such good value. Now, if you have the patience to wait the 3 months to get one of these watches, you are going to get an exceptional piece for that $300 price tag. You'll find a link to the Monro Kickstarter in the description. If you're interested in this watch, go and check out the page for more information and to see some of the other colour options. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.